Dean Winchester is supposed to be the simple guy. Shoot the monster, salt the door, save the kid, drive away. Except the universe keeps treating him like a piñata. And it's not because he's dumb. You don't beat Dean in a fight. You just hand him a choice that sounds like love and watch him walk straight into it. Here are all the times Dean got completely played. Azazel turns Dean into a contract guy. Season 2, Episode 22. Starting with the most Dean Winchester loss imaginable. Sam dies, and you can literally see Dean's brain just short-circuit. One thought: undo it. The demon doesn't wrestle him, doesn't threaten him, doesn't even get creative. It just waits for Dean to volunteer. And Dean, being Dean, volunteers immediately. He makes a crossroads deal. His soul for Sam's life. Done. No questions asked. Here's what makes this an outsmarting and not just a sad moment, though. Dean thinks he's doing the math. 1 life for 1 life. Fair trade. I'll take the hit. But demons love that math, because it's not math, it's a trap with a bow on it. Dean doesn't ask about the catch. He doesn't read page 2. And buddy, if a demon ever says sure that quickly, there is absolutely a page 2. The yellow-eyed demon didn't beat Dean. It turned Dean into a ticking clock. And the worst part? Dean walked away from that deal feeling like he won. That is villain excellence right there. Bela Talbot runs the cleanest hustle on 2 armed men. Season 3, Episode 3. This episode proves you can outsmart Dean Winchester using nothing but vibes, confidence, and a cursed rabbit's foot. The boys pick up the foot, which is basically a portable cheat code. Hold it, and you're blessed. Lose it, and the universe starts personally bullying you. Dean gets it, and immediately becomes that guy at a casino who thinks God chose him. He's winning everything. He's cocky, he's having the time of his life. And then Bella shows up. She plays it cool, acts helpful, and before Dean can do his usual "I don't trust anyone" routine, she's already got the upper hand, because Dean is too busy riding the high of actually getting a win for once to notice he's being pickpocketed. This is what Bela understood that most monsters don't. Dean's guard isn't highest when he's scared. It's highest when he's in pain. When he's having fun, though, when he's feeling invincible, that's when you take the thing. She weaponized his personality. She let him feel untouchable, then reminded him he's still just a guy who can get wrecked by bad timing, which, honestly, is the whole Supernatural brand. Gabriel turns Dean into a lab rat. Season 3, Episode 11. Mystery Spot isn't just Dean being outsmarted, it's Dean being professionally outsmarted. Gabriel has infinite power and infinite creativity. And he looks at Dean Winchester and goes, "You know what? I'm going to teach him emotional growth through slapstick deaths." Repeatedly, Dean dies. Wakes up. Same day. Dies again. Wakes up. Same day. Again. And at first, Dean's like, okay, hunters solve things. We can crack this. But the loop is smarter than him. It keeps changing death. It punishes patterns. Try to brute force it, he dies. Try to be careful, he dies. Try to be a hero, he dies. Try to just be normal, he dies. The real flex, though, is that none of this is actually about killing Dean. It's about destroying his most sacred coping mechanism. The belief that if he just works hard enough, he can protect Sam from anything. And Dean keeps thinking the solution is tactical. Like there's a monster to stab somewhere, but the trick is emotional. You can't shoot a lesson, man. Lilith waits, out the clock, and collects her prize. Season 3, Episode 16. No Rest for the Wicked is where Dean learns the worst truth the show has to offer. Sometimes you can do everything right and still lose because the deadline was the weapon the whole time. They're hunting Lilith. They're doing the research. They're getting close. And Lilith isn't hiding because she's scared. She's playing keep away while the clock runs out. The deal isn't backstory. The deal is the knife at his throat. And then midnight hits. The hellhounds come. And it's not cool action scene messy. It's frantic, desperate, Dean realizing in real time that the universe genuinely does not care how badly he wants to win. That's a rough one, and it locks in so much of who Dean becomes, because after this, every villain knows love makes this man sign contracts he can't read. Zachariah hits Dean. With the corporate factory reset. Season 4, Episode 17. This one is honestly one of the pettiest outsmartings in the whole show. Instead of physically torturing Dean, Zachariah just removes his entire identity, like it's an app he can uninstall. Suddenly Dean is a normal dude. Office job, routine, co-workers, a life with no monsters in it, and Dean buys it. Not because he's dumb, because the fantasy is perfectly tailored. It's the dream Dean never admits he wants out loud. A world where nobody needs him to be a weapon. That's the outsmarting. Zachariah doesn't need Dean afraid. He needs Dean settled, comfortable, too cozy to keep fighting the cosmic plan. And Dean gets trapped in comfort, which is so much more unsettling than a clawed hand through the wall. The little "this doesn't feel right" instincts eventually kick in. But Zachariah's point lands anyway. Look how easy it is to rewrite you. Dean's whole thing is, you can't change who I am. And Zachariah just goes, actually, yes you can. You just have to offer him a life where he doesn't hurt constantly. Gadriel walks into the bunker, wearing a friendly name tag. Season 9, Episode 1. Season 9 opens with one of the most brutal Dean outsmartings because it looks like a rescue. Sam is dying. Dean is panicking. An angel shows up saying he can help. Dean says yes. And here's what makes it a masterclass. Dean doesn't just say yes for himself. He says yes for Sam, while hiding the whole thing from Sam, which is exactly the kind of protective lie Dean always tells himself is fine, because it's coming from love. That's how you beat him. You put him in a corner where honesty feels like cruelty. Dean can't stand watching Sam die when he had an option sitting right there. So he takes the option, and he doesn't notice the option is also a leash. If you were yelling, "Dean, this is how possession works" at your screen, congratulations. You've now participated in the official supernatural viewing tradition, right next to "Don't split up" and "Why would you touch that?" Cain gives Dean a gift with a hidden invoice. Season 9, Episode 11. Dean takes the mark of Cain, and the episode frames it like a necessary weapon. We need something big enough to kill big enough evil, so fine, cursed power-up, here we go. Except it's not a power-up, it's a slow-release disaster. Cain basically hands Dean a loaded gun and says, "Trust me, you'll never point this at yourself." And Dean, king of "I can handle it," nods along like he's not about to get emotionally demolished by magical rage. The extra mean part of this outsmarting is that Dean frames it as sacrifice. He's doing it for the mission, for his people, for the greater good. Which means it slides right past his defenses. Because Dean can resist temptation when it's selfish. Dean cannot resist temptation when it's wrapped in duty. That's the cheat code. And once the mark is on, the show starts charging interest. The "I'm fine" act gets thinner. And the audience is just sitting there like, this man will look you dead in the eye and say he's okay, while actively turning into a supernatural wrecking ball. Michael gets the cleanest yes of his life. Season 13, Episode 23. This is the episode where Dean does the thing he swore he'd never do again, says yes to possession. He frames it as strategy. frames it as the only move, frames it as I'm in control. And look, the apocalypse scale is insane. Cosmic threats everywhere, allies exhausted. Dean is built to throw himself at the explosion and sort out the consequences later. But that's exactly why it's an outsmarting. Michael doesn't even need a lie. He just needs the situation to get bad enough that Dean's self-sacrifice reflex kicks in automatically. Dean's fatal flaw is consistency. He will always choose "I'll take the hit" if it keeps Sam alive and keeps the world running one more day. Archangels love a consistent man. Consistent men are predictable. So when Dean says yes, it doesn't feel like defeat. It feels like courage. And then the show does what it always does. It makes you watch what happens when courage gets exploited. Chuck reveals the biggest con of all. Season 14, Episode 20. Okay, this one. This is the outsmarting that is almost rude in scale. Not a demon, not a monster of the week. It's the author. It's God. Chuck takes off the mask and basically says, "Oh, you thought you had free will." That is adorable. And it reframes everything. All those times Dean barely survived. All those times the perfect weapon showed up at the perfect moment. All those times some random stranger had exactly the information they needed. It all suddenly feels less like destiny and more like plot armor with a face. Dean's whole identity is built around being the guy who pushes back, who flips off cosmic authority, who says no, and the ultimate authority is standing right there going, "I wrote your no." That is the ultimate outsmarting. Not, "I beat you." Not, "I tricked you." It's, "I designed the board you thought you were winning on." And if you've ever watched Dean stare at the sky like he wants to fistfight it, this is the moment the sky stares back. And that's the sick joke of Dean Winchester. He's not dumb. He's just easy to target if you know what he loves. The villains who beat him don't do it with bigger guns. They do it with timing, fine print, and the one sentence he can never ignore. "This will save your family." If I missed a moment where Dean got completely played, drop it in the comments. Because this show has 15 seasons of emotional blackjack, and Dean keeps hitting on 21 with a cursed deck. And if you made it to the end, hit like and subscribe, or the next Crossroads Demon is going to offer you a deal where the fine print is just the words.